So I'm really not that wild about sharpening. I like to keep my knives pretty sharp, and honestly, if I'm going to reprofile something, I'm definitely just going to use my work sharp to get the majority of that work done, maybe even a file if it's bad enough, or a beater blade. But when it comes to something like a Scandi, this is my shop knife. I use this. I've had this Mora Consbowl for a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years at this point, now that I think of it. Really, really reliable blade, great blade, but I do wear it down, and it is getting there, man. It's getting worn down. It's getting beat up. It's very convexed, and when I want to try to reduce some material to get it back down to a Scandi, most of the time I'm going to hit it real quick on the work sharp. Well, over time, one of the downsides of the work sharp is that if you don't hold it perfectly and you're not really careful, it's just going to convex a Scandi. And that's exactly what's happened here. I've sharpened it so many times that you would have to reprofile it basically on the work sharp by being very, very delicate and careful. Sometimes I actually will go to a stone, and I don't want to spend all my time doing it. I don't have wet stones right now. In fact, I have a dry stone kit right here. This is something I picked up at a hardware store for like $30. It's got 3 sides to it. So I was at Menards one day and I saw this and I thought, you know, it's actually a decent concept. It's really a rip-off of some other work sharp materials, but I like it. This is an extremely coarse diamond stone. Very, very coarse. This will take a heck of a lot of material off quickly, and when you're working with something like a Scandi, it's one thing to go after the shoulder with a diamond stone like this, but when this starts touching the edge, you are stripping away material very quickly on a Scandinavian knife. I would not use this type of grit for a whole lot, but if you're trying to reduce a shoulder or take out a chip or something, I guess you might use this. I tend to use this. This is a medium grit, and it is a stone. It's a dry stone again. And after I'm done with this, whatever level I need to use it, then I flip over to my favorite part of this, which is just a big ceramic. And so this is a ceramic piece here, and it's really, really nice. This one in particular, I don't know what it is. I prefer this one over a lot of ones that I've used. Better than an Arkansas stone or anything else. I like this. And ceramic is one of my favorites to work with because it's just extremely hard. Now this unit right here, like I said, cost me around $30. The Work Sharp, just a little bit more than that. This Work Sharp unit here has, if I can just bring this into view, has some articulating units. So if you're familiar with this, move this out of the way. A lot of people have been getting excited about these because these are really great at touching up edges. They're not going to be for reprofiling ever. Like I've already burnt out a little bit of this stone on the 320 here, I can tell on this diamond. These are not going to be for complete reprofiling projects. It's just a terrible idea. It does have an angulature option here. I'm going to take this out and just try to show you that in here you can change the angle up and down. Very simple idea, but it's pretty effective. And then you've got some claws here for holding the spine of your blade. So you can do folding knives or fixed blades. And up to a certain size, it's going to work. And you've just got this little magnetic unit. And the magnet goes in here, and you set the angle to what you want to do, and you would just pull and draw this back in, or whatever your method is, okay? So this is a great idea. It does have some flex in it, okay? Not just because I'm on this pad. This unit has some flex in it. And so sometimes when I am needing to reprofile a Scandi, I will not trust this with the guide. And what I'll actually do is, believe it or not, I'll just use my medium cheapy stone here. I'm just trying to get that Scandi back to a true, whatever degrees it actually comes out to be. I'll just use this because it's just a weird thing. You can feel it with your fingers. You can feel if you're keeping that angle. And one of the downsides of this Work Sharp system is the mouth on this thing. This thing is flexy, and it does move. As much as I've tried to, there's just a lot of flex in it. I'm not sure if it's because of the polymer inside or just the way that these teeth engage, because this actually can pop out and rotate, which is a great feature. So you can flip your blade around. It's a really great feature. But I think because of that, it's got a little movement in it, and when you're drawing the blade or the stone back and forth, it tends to change the angle slightly on the edge, and you still end up with a bit just a bit more convex than I wanted to do on a Scandinavian knife. And so I'm just going to show you. Okay. Just a few passes on that medium stone, and I've actually taken away most of the convex. I'm going to go up and hit that shoulder here. I'm going to get it leveled out. I've taken away most of the convex though, and it's now a very flat grind from the shoulder down. I'm going to go ahead and hit the other side. It's going to get tricky when I get up here, and that's part of the dual grind issue. But again, the advantage of being able to hold it to the stone and just feel it, for some reason, you know, if you get good at it after a while, you can really have a consistent motion. And lots of people have different ways. Lots of guys would say, don't go back and forth, go one way and then lift and then back. And yeah, you do it your way. I'm just letting you know that for me, when I want to get it trued back to a zero, I really prefer using a stone. And that method even has its own lifespan, because eventually a stone gets a dip in it. It's a little concave going on, and you may start to see some warpage in the way that you're sharpening. But for me, these affordable stones, if you're going to go to Menards or your local hardware store, see something like this, I actually would be just as happy to have this as this whole system with all the cool things you can do in the diamond rods and the ceramic rods and the angles that are listed on there. Just my 2 cents. I think this is cool, but a lot of times I end up being just fine with this. That being said, when it comes to my pocket knives, things that are dulled often, easily, and this is S35, but I mean, if you use it enough, you're cutting up a lot of cardboard or breaking zip ties up plastic. I don't always want to spend a huge amount of time with this, and so I will sometimes just leave this on my desk, and I'll go ahead and throw it in the mouth, and it's sharp enough right now, but sometimes I'll just throw it in there. Instead of even risking anything on the work sharp, I'll just get the angle perfectly, absolutely perfectly. I'll throw in the little arm here, and I'll just hit the edge, and I have not had to remove a lot of material off this folding EDC type blade, and I think that's an advantage of this device. So they both have their place. I probably could still do the same thing on the stone, but when I'm really delicate, this is really nice at putting a final edge on something, or even just being really, really accurate with this ceramic stone underneath. You know, it's a small piece, but it's really, really nice to be able to draw that accurately, consistently, as long as I'm not putting a lot of pressure down. The issue tends to be for me, if I try to use the diamond rods, I put a lot of pressure down, I start to change the angles, and that bothers me a little bit. So I stick to the ceramic on this one and pocket knives, and I'm still pretty happy with it. So just my 2 cents about that, guys. If you use it differently, great. I'm sure most people do, because sharpening is one of those polarizing things where everybody does it differently. But for me tonight, I'm going to go ahead and fix this blade, and I'm actually just going to use this stone.